This setup is so abysmal, but we are really low on alternatives. The desk is a mess. Deal with it. And the lighting is so harsh, it is making me feel physically warm, but the best we have. Also, I didn't die. I just didn't do anything for a while. School, mainly, but I can't really use that excuse considering I didn't do schoolwork anyway, but digress. Point. I want to talk about how to sound like an absolute idiot, and there's one way to do it really, really well. If you want to sound like an absolute moronic figure, you need to start to talk about, explain, try to justify, and give examples for the teleological arguments. Because I have never sat or seen someone try to do that and not come off sounding like they have candy floss inside their skull. The logic is not logic. It is really the biggest cop-out of a I don't know what this is, therefore God, full stop. The general premise of teleological arguments is we look at things have purpose, therefore someone must have made thing with purpose. Thus, thing is made by God, created God concept. No. I had a teacher try and say, and I think it was just to say, that the very existence of the thumb is enough to warrant a belief in God because it is so complex and they can't see any world without a thumb or any other way a thumb could come about. And that is just a small example, people might say butterfly wings or the ear or the eye or whatever. No, science knows that it's natural selection and that, the thumb has adapted and has a course of adaptation and we can trace back through genetic benefit and mimetic benefit, we've developed thumbs, and we didn't always have thumbs. So if we were perfect, idyllic, created in the image of God, why did thumbs come about at a point in history prior to which there was no thumbs? That's just not true. That's not logic. You can't sit there and say God exists because thumbs are thumbs as they should be, when thumbs are thumbs as they should be because they've been created to be thumbs through the process. They haven't been created, they've been processed through natural selection to become thumbs. There was an era without thumbs. There are things without thumbs. And there are ways that we could have been without thumbs if they hadn't been of genetic benefit. But enough about thumbs. People also say, well, everything's perfect, everything is in order, everything works, and it's too complex. There has to be a God to make these things, because otherwise we'd have so many things that don't work. Why is it working? Why aren't there millions of failures, and why are there only millions of successes? Well, because through survival of the fittest, everything that failed to function didn't function. Therefore, what we have now appears to be the best, because all the best has survived through the chain of natural selection to this point, and everything that was a failure, wasn't functioning well, or just didn't cut it, has died. It's the harsh world. It is dead. That's why we can't see, these things that don't benefit us. That's why it looks like everything is beneficial, because everything that isn't beneficial has been weeded out. To say that this justifies God is to admit that, one, you have never heard of Darwin's theory in depth, and two, is to admit that you have no rational thought. This falls into lunacy to claim against, actual fact that there must be a God because you feel like this thing justifies there being a God, when there is a literal scientific study, school of thought, and, proof, big word, proof, that you can trace back through every generation to prove that there is no such thing as intellectual design and only a selection, only a process of evolution. You can't deny evolution anymore. You can't call it a hypothesis anymore, because it is literally verifiable, literally back observable, and at this point it is fact. So yes, that is my one-on-one guide on how to sound like an idiot, and that is to defend the teleological intellectual design arguments, because you just sound like the biggest idiot, because it really is the peak of unintellect. And the way that some people are so prevalently argumentative of this blows my mind. How can you not sit back and be like, wait a minute? Because seriously, wait a minute.